Good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Michele and I'm independent demonstrator with Stamping Up. Thanks for joining me today. I'm really pleased you're able to jump on. Leave your name or please, add your name and where you're from because it's always wonderful to say hello to people. And I really enjoy this, just to meeting new people from around Australia and other parts of the world as well. So I'm going to get started with this today. For the last couple of weeks, we've been putting together a photo album. I've decided to have a break from that this week, just for the fact that I've had a very, very busy week with my alterations again, and I really haven't had a chance to continue working on that album. So I thought I haven't played with a new product from our catalogue. So today we're going to have a look at that. So I'm going to turn my camera down to my desk, so I won't be one moment. Okay, there we go. So this is what I'm looking at today. Now, I love blue and white. Many years ago when I worked in retail and was selling fabrics, and we'd have reps come in and they would show us all the new fabrics that they were going to be introducing into their catalogues, and my boss would say to me, okay, Michele, pick out which ones are all your favourites. And without thinking, I would pick out all the ones, and she said, now have another look at it, because 9 times out of 10 they're all blue and white. Whether they were blue and white and yellow or blue and white and pink, but they were all predominantly blue and white, that real Wedgwood feel and look. So this paper or this suite actually takes me right back all those years to when I would choose and pull out all the blue and white, fabrics without even really thinking about it. It's just I'm attracted and I love blue and white together. So I'm going to make a card today. I've sort of been playing around with a few ideas. We may introduce another colour, just a little bit, maybe a little bit of crumb cake into this. I don't know yet. I just want to have a little bit of a play with it, because this is really my first time playing with this suite. So this suite has a lovely range of papers. They're actually really quite cute. So you've got this one here with all the little birds on it, with it, that blue and white floral background. This one here, which is a little bit more of your traditional blue and white, very much that Wedgwood sort of looking. This is so gorgeous. I mean, I could see this on a card for a new baby or something. It's not either, even though it's in blues, it's not really blue, girl or boy. You could use this for anything. And then we have like little animals of the forest. Aren't they cute? Look at that little fox. Again, you could make this up for a card for a new baby, and just because it's in blue, it doesn't have to be just for a boy. It could be for a little girl. This beautiful, almost a slightly more of a, I suppose, a regal sort of a look with this sort of cameo effect here with the flower in the centre of that one. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this paper in a moment. And then this one here with the little bunnies. Very, very cute. Again, I can see so much with this paper. I can see scrapbooking pages. I can see photo albums, and I can see cards. So, and I really can't wait just to really let my hair down and play with it. Now with this particular one, because this suite does come with an embossing folder. Now let me just have a quick look. It's sort of in amongst all my bits and pieces over here. There we go. There it is. So there's your embossing folder. My clean desk didn't stay too clean for too long. It won't be long, I'll have it cleaned again. But you can see the design here, and that actually copies this particular design on your paper. So if I actually turned it up this way and then turn that one, that way you can actually see that better. So there's a flower in the middle just there, You've got this little one here, which is a bit more detailed than what they've put in the embossing folder. But the beauty of this, and I haven't tried this as yet, but if you cut this in the right spot, and I probably haven't cut this in the correct spot, but you could actually line this pattern up. You'd have to cut it right to start with, unlike what I've done there. But you can actually run this through the embossing folder and emboss that piece of paper and give it a little bit more texture. And actually what we might do is we might give that a try. So let me just move some of this out of the road. And I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer because I do need to cut this paper down a little bit. At the moment, I've cut it to about 10 centimetres wide. I'm going to make it a little bit narrower, say to about 9. Now, I really think if you're going to use this, I've just sort of cut off a 10 centimetre strip all the way down my paper, but I would probably line this up a little bit better so then this here becomes more centralised or more over one side, depending on what you want to do. But if we line this up, so I don't know whether you can see this little flower image here, but I'm just going to pop the paper underneath that and line it up. And I'm just lining that up and the rest of the image on there, just like that. Let's just grab this, my cut and emboss machine. Now, this is a narrower, it's not a 3D embossing folder. So I did find that when I did this earlier, I needed to use plate 1 and plate 2. I'll pop my folder down on there. Hope you can see that. And then run this through. So I've got my plate 4 on top. Don't worry about those clings and clangs. That just means your machine is working properly. Whoops. Let me get rid of that. And let's have a look at this. So I've just embossed that. It's just got a little bit of extra texture on that paper. And actually, I think we might use it now. I'm sort of out a little bit, but I don't think it really matters that much. It just gives you that little bit extra texture on that paper there. So let's just cut this down and make a card out of it. I've got really no idea on what I'm doing as far as the card design, because we've just now gone completely out of what I originally had in mind, but that's fine. So I've cut this down 9, and the width of our card is usually 10.5. So I'm going to cut, and I'm going to cut a little bit off this end here because I want this medallion here being in the center, because I'm going to pop that probably on this side of my card. So you'll see in a minute what I mean. So you've got 10, our width of our card is 10.5. I like to work fairly symmetrical. So 10.5, and we've taken it down 9, so we've lost 1.5 centimeters. So I'm going to take 1.5 off this. So I'm going to take this back to 13.4. Let's hope, fingers crossed, I've got that right. And I did cut earlier when I was playing around. Piece here that we can mat that on. And this is in the new boho blue. So that's going to work nicely on that. And I've got some Night of Navy here. So let's have a look. So whether we go the Night of Navy, that's not too bad. Okay, so that's one idea that we can do with that. Okay, so let's have a look at what else is in this suite. So that's one part of this suite. What we also have in this suite is this large stamp. Now, it is one stamp. So you've got one stamp here with all these different layers. Now, you can stamp the whole lot in one, and I've got one here that I can show you. Okay, let me just find that in amongst all my bits and pieces here. Oops. Been chopping up cardstock everywhere here, and in here somewhere, I'll show all this to you. Oops, I just lost a little bit. But you can stamp that whole complete image like that. Now, the other part of this stamp set is the dies. And these dies are like a nested dies, and they will cut out each layer. Now, there's lots of different things you can do here. I've just pre-cut a whole lot here, and I think I've just lost one bit on the floor, but that's okay. So that's it there. Let me move my catalogue again. So I've just stamped all of that in the Night of Navy for the moment. But then what I've done, I've stamped this off a few times. You can use the large die and just cut that whole piece out. So that gives you that. You can then also cut each individual layer out. Now, what I did was I layered up all my dies on once and went through the die cut machine. Actually, I'll start with that one and die cut each individual piece, or like die cut them all at once, I should say. It is a little bit fiddly. Probably if I was doing it again, you could just die cut the exact size you want. And as you can see, if I can find all the bits and pieces to this, you can build all this up. Okay. So I have, because I've already taken a few pieces out of here, but I think you get the idea. So you can build it up. Now, what I've also got here is I've taken this piece and I've die cut that piece out of the center. So if you wanted to, you could just work on, you could die cut each one and make a frame. Or what I've done here is I've die cut just in the plain white. So if I just wanted to use I can pop that over the top just to get that one section. Of course, the other way you can do this is you can get your Stampin' Write markers. And if I do that, let me take all this out. You can grab your Stampin' Write markers. Now, let me just have a look. Got Misty Moonlight here. I've got a piece of cardstock. So the other thing I could do, if I just wanted to, I might just do it on this side, and I'm just going to, so these dots here, I'll use the brush end, just use the side of that brush end nib and just run, whoops, all the way around. making sure they're all well and truly covered in ink. Might just pop a bit more on these ones here. Give a bit of a huff on this just to reactivate the ink because it will dry, and then stamp. And there's just your dots there. So there are lots of ways that you can actually use this big stamp, even though it's one huge stamp. So you could stamp the whole lot in one piece like that and die cut each individual level. You can just stamp or use your Stamp and Write markers just to do the area you want to use. So I actually quite like this size. So I'm going to grab one of the dies and we're going to cut that one out. And I just think I just have that here. Yep, that's going to be perfect. So what I'm going to do is grab my cut and emboss machine again. So I hope you're all having a lovely day. It's not too bad weather here at the moment. We had a bit of snow earlier this week, which was nice and surprising for everybody here. We haven't seen snow as low as what it was for quite a few years, so that was exciting. We even made the local, well, not the local news, the state news with the snow we had here in the Southern Highlands. So that was good. We're going to pop that on there and just run this through. Now this suite doesn't come with any stamps that have got any sentiments, so there's no sentiments to this at all. So you could add whatever sentiments you wanted to. But if we went back to our catalogue, let's see if I can find the page. Yes, I did mark it. Oops. And we turn over the page. Then on the other page, we've got this here stamp set called Lasting Joy, and it's got the same style of flowers in it. It's got a beautiful arrangement of sentiments, and because this one does coordinate with it quite well, even though it's not made to actually coordinate. It's a separate one, or you can use it independently. So I've purchased this one and used it with it. So what I'm going to do now, and these are the colours that they say in the catalogue that go with this suite. You've got your balmy blue, boho blue, misty moonlight, and night of navy. So they're the stamps they say you can go with it. You could add, you don't even have to use those colours. If you don't want to, you could use completely different colours. Crumb cake is another colour they've used in the examples in the catalogue. So what I thought I might do is I'm going to stamp just a simple little floral, and I'm going to be using the happy birthday sentiment, and I'm going to do that in my night of navy because we've got our card base there in our night of navy. So just to bring that night of navy back into this, I'm going to stamp that right there like that. Then I'm going to bring in the boho blue because, again, I think the boho blue, we've got that here in a matte. So we've got our night of navy in our card base. We've got boho blue in our matte. So I'm going to bring in my boho blue. And I'm going to stamp those flowers. And I'm just going to take those flowers just off to one side a little bit and slightly at an angle, just like that. Now my Blow-Ho Blue is very juicy because it's a brand new stamp. And then I have got this little stamp here that's in that stamp set, and it's just some little leaves, and that's where I'm going to use my crumb cake rather than just continuing on using all blues. But of course you could if you wanted to. You could even use one of the greens for this if you wanted to. And I'm going to just, this one here just goes with this beautifully. I'm just going to pop this at slightly at an angle to match the other and stamp that there. I want to keep this quite simple because the designer series paper, of course, is our hero, I think, of this suite. So that's what we're going to use. Now, of course, you've also, because I'm using all the blues and the boho blue is what our new in color, we've also got the boho blue in the in color textured ribbon as well. So we could pop a little bit of this on this as well. It is a stiffish, if you're going to tie a bow, I think you need to be sort of a slightly bigger bow. I don't think I'm going to be doing a bow today, but I'll just show you what it's like with tying a bow. It's quite a stiff and thick sort of ribbon. But that's the type of bow that you could easily get. But I'm going to be using this as a straight piece. So let's just start putting some of this together. So we've got our hard base there. And I've got some glue here. So adhere that onto there. Got that beautifully embossed paper. Really adds another dimension when you can actually match your pattern with your embossing folder in your designer series paper. So there's that. Now what I want to do, or what I think I'm wanting to do, is just do maybe, okay, I'm going to add some seal on the back of this. We'll probably add some dimensionals on this eventually. But what I'm going to do is just add a twist of ribbon. So I'm just folding this backwards and forwards across the back. Only needing probably around about that. We'll trim this back in a moment. I just want to maybe change my direction here a little bit. That's better. Take that off, just trim those back. Just so simple to make just a simple little card like this. And then we're just going to grab some dimensionals and add a few dimensionals to the back of our card. And then we're just going to add that just below that flower because I don't want to cover that up. Then a nice push down. And then all we have left to do is add a piece on the inside of our card. And what we can do here is just, again, stamp these flowers, I think, on here. So again, I'm going to grab that boho blue. This time I just might stamp it off a little bit. Just want to keep this fairly soft. Stamp that off a little bit. Add that onto there. And then that, we can just glue that on the inside of our card there. It's just a really simple there you are. There's a very, very simple card using that beautiful suite. Now, I'm going to say goodbye now. I hope you've enjoyed that. It's just wanted to show you a simple card made with that stunning suite from the catalogue. And let me just show you that page again. So it's called Countryside Inn. There's quite a bit that you can do with it. And really, I think the stamp set, you could use that with any colour and it would look fantastic. And I think you could add any colours into this as well with flowers and what else, with the flowers and everything from this bundle here or this stamp set here. And you might have to do a little bit of fussy cutting, but I think there's a lot here that we can do with this, and really I can't wait to get in and playing with it a lot more. So I hope you've enjoyed my card today. Just short and sweet, and I hope you have a lovely day. So take care, and we'll see you next week for my live again. So bye for now.